What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Lots to get into today, as usual. First and foremost, Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System, along with the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC, collectively issuing a following statement on crypto asset risks to banking organizations. The events of the past year have been marked by significant volatility and the exposure of vulnerabilities in the crypto asset sector. Bunch of bullet points going down through here, risk of fraud, legal uncertainty, and inaccurate or misleading representations and disclosures by crypto asset companies. Significant volatility, which we've heard for year after year after year. Obviously, it's still the case. We see these kind of huge boom and bust portions of these market cycles. Susceptibilities of stablecoins to run risk, contagion risk within the crypto asset sector, resulting from interconnections among certain crypto asset participants, risk management, heightened risks associated with open public and or quote-unquote decentralized networks or similar systems. Pretty interesting stuff here. I mean, I think we're going to really start seeing kind of a push towards hopefully some regulations. I'm not sure if they're the type of regulations that we want to see coming from people like Gary, who thinks that multitudes of decades old securities laws are going to potentially foster innovation. But we will see where it goes, honestly. I don't think any of us are really in the power seat right now, but Gary Gensler joining Yahoo Finance. This came out yesterday, basically talking about referring to crypto exchanges as like casinos, basically. Now, I do agree, obviously, with all the stuff going on with Sam Bankman-Fried, using customer funds, without, in general, obviously nonsensical. We don't want to see any of that. We do want to see more transparency. Obviously, it probably makes sense, too, from a regulatory standpoint for some of these exchanges that do have kind of multiple businesses wrapped into one business to really separate out what those value propositions are and register accordingly. You would think that that's kind of the case as far as what's going on, but obviously with the FTX debacle, there's a lot of Wild West stuff still going on. So kind of the same rhetoric still applies that isn't rhetoric, but common sense. Try to custody your own assets. Unless you're a trader, it probably doesn't make a ton of sense to keep your assets on exchanges. I will say it probably makes sense to be onboarded into multiple exchanges just in case something happens with one or the other, so that you have options to sell or to buy or whatever you want to do on an individual level. But yeah, I'll post some of these links for you guys. I am not going to listen to Gary speak, though, in this. We did see yesterday Sam Bankman-Fried pleading not guilty to 8 counts of wire fraud, securities fraud, and conspiracy. So pleading not guilty pretty much across the board, right? Coinbase, now this came out today, is to pay $100 million to resolve New York investigation into customer due diligence lapses. Now, what we get into within this, they're going to spend essentially $50 million to really bolster up I'm sure it's going to be the KYC aspects, even more so than what we've seen recently. And $50 million to resolve the New York investigation into lapses concerning AML laundering and know your customer practices. That other $50 million is basically going to add more restrictions for users that are participating within Coinbase. I found this also pretty funny to watch. John Deaton, this is what buying access gets you. This is Sam Bankman-Fried again. Who the hell is going to listen to Sam Bankman-Fried on pandemic prevention? He was cutting deals. I guarantee you he was wanting the White House to support what he was asking Gary Gensler for, buying a regulatory advantage.
Last week's visitor log release showed a most recent meeting between Sam Bankman-Fried and a White House official, Steve Ricchetti. In this case, this was his 4th meeting of the year. I'm wondering, given this first briefing since then, if you can give us any sort of summary of what has been discussed in Mr. Bankman-Fried's meetings with the White House over the course of the year.
Yeah. So let me give you a few rundowns here. As we've previously confirmed, as you know, I know you're following this very closely, these meetings included Steve Ricchetti and Bruce Reed. The meetings focused on pandemic prevention related to Sam Bankman-Fried's foundation and general information on the cryptocurrency industry and crypto exchanges. Look, the administration has been clear about the need for Congress to take action when it
So you literally have White House representatives meeting for the third or the fourth time, I think they said, with Sam Bankman-Fried about pandemic prevention. Yeah, and of course, obviously, the same dude that is, obviously being faced with 8 counts of wire fraud, securities fraud, and conspiracy charges. So really great to see the United States taking a step forward in clear-cut regulation. That's obviously sarcastic. All right, so wanted to give a shout out to Shellfish at XR Peace of Mind. She is consistently doing tons of deep dives into quite a bunch of different topics, but she had pulled out this kind of date of patent, which is, it looks like this got approved December 20th, 2022. This is a Ripple Lab patent, Byzantine Agreement in Open Networks. You can go through and read the entire thing. It's on, Justia Patents if you're interested in it. This is pretty long. I'm not going to go through this entire thing with you guys, but just wanted to give Shellfish a shout out. Also saw this. So DTCC essentially dealing with the majority of global derivatives and derivative volume. That does get up into that quadrillions, obviously. Not directly mentioning anything within any individual cryptocurrencies, but talking about the shift to T+1 settlement, and then obviously after T+1, I found this was interesting, is that they're already capable, I guess, of facilitating T+2, but it's kind of this industry shift. But T+1 is like 2024, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, so they're really talking about all of the things that would need to come to fruition for them to really move to T+0 within this document. Reiterating that automation is required to advance to the next level of shorter settlement cycles, particularly when tokenized securities are being evaluated. So they're obviously already talking about DLT tokenization within the securities markets as well, which I thought was pretty interesting. We do know Davos is coming up. There's quite an agenda coming out, so just wanted to flag this for you guys. Pay attention to like mid-month with all the Davos news. China launching National Digital Asset Exchange for NFTs and Metaverse. Now, I believe this is just a link to sign up for live right now for Chinese people that live in China, obviously. I've seen in the past, so that there was like major bans. You can even see it here. There was like banning around what I think what China's actually doing with NFTs is like things like health records, things like digital ID, all of those aspects. And you can see right here, the state-owned China Digital Asset Trading Platform was jointly created by the China Technology Exchange, the Cultural Relics Exchange, and the Copyright Service Center, aiming to standardize the trading process to dampen speculation. Chinese government, et cetera, et cetera. European Central Bank and the Eurosystem putting out this legal conference that was released just in December. I'm not going to get way too much into the weeds within this, but there is a portion on CBDCs, legal interoperability, and retail CBDCs taming the multiverse of payments madness. And one of the interviewees or authors within that is Jess Chang. Obviously, Jess came from Ripple as well. Oversight of the Federal Reserve's payment services, including FedNow. Prior to that, counsel with the International Monetary Fund. Previously, Deputy General Counsel at Ripple. So you kind of see the history there, which I thought was pretty interesting, talking about interoperability and the legal aspects of CBDCs. Tata Consultancy Services to deploy TCS Banks, which is Ripple enabled for CTBC Bank in Taiwan. Now just talking about the next generation digital core, enabling the bank to provide specialized financial services across retail, wealth, and corporate banking, including money trusts, as well as trade finance and international remittance. This is a new core banking system through CTBC Bank in Taiwan, facilitating solutions for loans, deposits, international and domestic remittances, payments, collections, facility limits, and collaterals across both consumer and corporate banking businesses. Now, this is a dead link now, but just probably middle of last year, we did see that TCS Banks is Ripple enabled, it's Ethereum enabled, it's Hyperledger, it's R3 enabled. Same thing with Quartz. Quartz is more of their like crypto and blockchain centric aspects. If you look enough, I know I've done videos on this in the past. TCS Quartz 100% integrated with XRP as well. The XRP ledger and for custody solutions, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the XRPL. I think Darren had this on his Patreon today, not today, but a while back. I stumbled across it. Tata Consultancy Services is a behemoth, though. TCS Banks is kind of their banking aspect. TCS Courts, from what I've seen, really does underpin a lot of that, the banking aspect at this point in time, or at least interoperates with it. And both TCS Banks and TCS Courts look like they utilize Ripple, or can utilize Ripple, along with things like Ethereum, Hyperledger, R3, etc. And Courts, we do know as of probably 4 or 5 months ago, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP directly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was straight and to the point and not kind of delving out into the deep end. But yeah, I will talk to you guys when I talk to you, as always. And yeah, have a good one. Later.